Yu was just a normal boy, but suddenly he was sent to Seikka Academy, a place where only talented and strange students improve their special skills. As soon as he arrived, his life turned upside down because he was forced to live in the same place with the three smartest and most beautiful girls in the school, and he had no way to get out. The story started at Seikka Academy, where Yu came as a new student. On the first day, the vice captain of the martial arts club, Hayato, beat him badly in front of everyone and insulted him, calling him weak and a failure. The people around also made fun of Yu and said he was nothing like his mother Subaru, who was a very famous actress and seen as a perfect person by everyone. Hayato told Yu to show some skill in front of the school's three kings, but Yu answered angrily that he should not be compared to his mother. He tried to attack Hayato, but his punch was weak and Hayato knocked him down easily. Everyone looked at him with disgust and wondered why Subaru's son was so helpless. Even after this humiliation, Yu stood up and thought that he had always been seen as a failure in front of his mother. Then he gave a long speech to Hayato, saying that not everything should be measured by talent. For a moment, Hayato stopped because he felt that Yu also had a special presence like her. But Yu did not care about people's opinions. He just shrugged his shoulders, turned his back, and walked away. Hayato still did not stop and thought that if Yu got beaten more, maybe some skill would wake up inside him. But as soon as he moved forward, Nico stopped him with a kick. Nico was the president of the martial arts club and one of Seikka's three kings, and was known as the biggest name in fighting. At the same time, the other two kings also arrived and everyone went silent. There was Miwa, who was the top student of the advanced program and a rising chess star, and Kazuki, who was famous in the arts department and as a theater actor. Yu got nervous because he did not understand why the three big elites of Seikka were standing there. Kazuki stepped forward, and when she found out that Yu had no special talent, she said straight that someone like him had no place in a school for talented people. Then Yu showed his admission proof that he was in the general education course. All three found this strange, because for them, only the elite programs mattered, and the general course seemed like a different world. Seeing all this, Yu wanted to leave and go to his class, but Nico stopped him and ordered him to clean the dojo. Yu muttered that he was not anyone's servant, but Nico said clearly that losers clean the dojo, that's the rule. Yu was forced to start cleaning, and later, when the martial arts team came back, they were surprised to see the dojo shining. Meanwhile, Yu was going to the house where he had to live, and on the way, he kept thinking about his past. Since childhood, he wanted to be praised like his mother Subaru, who was a star that seemed impossible to reach. Yu also tried acting, thinking he could become an action hero, but when he saw her on screen, he realized there was a genius presence in her, and Yu was nowhere close. Yu tried many things to show talent, but every failure pushed him further away from her. Then Subaru became very sick, and Yu realized how far he had become from his only family. In the hospital, he kept watching a drama where Subaru played the mother of a happy family. Yu admitted that he liked the show, and Subaru said she liked it too. When Yu mentioned the family dinner scenes, Subaru smiled and said those were her favorite scenes too. At that moment, Yu understood that even with so much talent, her father's biggest wish was to have a family like that. Before Yu could make that dream come true with his mother, Subaru died. She left a letter telling Yu to find his own happy family. Yu did not know how this would happen, but now he decided to chase that dream and make up for the lost time with his mother. When Yu reached the house where he had to live, he was shocked because in front of him was a grand and beautiful mansion. Suddenly, Nico appeared in a towel and attacked him, thinking he was a thief. Yu shouted that he was not a criminal, and Nico asked why he was there. Then she slipped and fell on the floor. Instead of helping her up, Yu put the towel on her head in a mocking way and started drying her hair while Nico tried to stop him. Yu just told her to calm down, and after a while, Nico let him do it. At the same time, Miwa and Kazuki also came to the house, tired after a long day. They surrounded Yu and asked what he was doing there. Yu was also confused. He did not understand why the school's three big stars were living in one house. Suddenly, Yu's phone rang. The owner of the house explained that Yu was allowed to stay there as a favor in memory of his mother, Subaru. He also said his three daughters lived there, and they were the same three girls. He hoped Yu would get along with them and show some skill to keep her father's legacy alive. But Yu's dream of a happy family started shaking when the three sisters clearly said they did not want him there. They complained that their father had brought a failed boy into the house, and they would not take care of a stranger. Even with this cold attitude, Yu did not give up. He still believed he could bring them together and make a united family. At the same time, Yu noticed something on the floor, but Kazuki picked it up before him. Yu looked around and realized the whole house was a mess. The sink was full of dirty dishes, and there was clutter everywhere. The sisters blamed Kazuki because it was her job to wash the dishes, but Kazuki said she was busy with theater rehearsal. Then Yu found some broken plates hidden away, showing that Kazuki had tried to wash the dishes but broke them all by mistake. Kazuki blushed in shame and tried to explain herself. Then Miwa came in with a pile of dirty clothes. The sister said washing clothes was Miwa's job, but she had ignored it as usual. Miwa got annoyed and told Yu to do it, and Yu agreed calmly without any complaint. Then he pointed out that cleaning the house was Nico's job, and she had not done that either. Nico did not like this, and angrily said he had no status in the school, so he had no right right to talk. The three kept mocking him, but Yua did not waste time and started cleaning the whole house right away. When they finished calling him useless, they were shocked to see the house was completely clean. Nico remembered this was the same boy who made the dojo shine at school. Then Yu looked at them with a charming smile and winked, and the three sisters got a little nervous. They quickly whispered to each other that even if he was useless, at least he looked good. The next morning, Yu was happy because he had a day off, but suddenly the house started shaking. He saw that Nico was training in the dojo like nothing happened yesterday. Then he went to the living room and saw Miwa already sitting at the chessboard, playing against an AI and full of anger. In the kitchen, Kazuki was making a green juice that looked like something from a crazy scientist lab. Yu asked in surprise what was going on, and Kazuki explained that this was their morning routine, just like brushing teeth. Each one did her own thing to stay the best. Then she said they were going out and Yu should look after the house. Yu tried to bring them together by suggesting they have breakfast together, but Kazuki immediately refused because she was in a hurry for rehearsal. Yu tried to convince Miwa too, but she was eating snacks while playing chess. When Yu got close to her, he felt a strange, strong energy from her, which reminded him of his mother Subaru's presence. He remembered that Subaru also often avoided eating breakfast with him and liked packed food for her star diet. Then Nico came after training and was drawn to the food Yu made, but when Yu offered it to her, she said it was not nutritious enough. Yu did not understand why breakfast was such a big issue, so Nico explained that to be the best food was needed. Yu slowly realized that he was just a normal person, but people like his mother and these sisters controlled even their food to improve themselves. Miwa also kept playing chess while eating sweets for her brain. Then, the three sisters hurried to start their day. Yu stopped them and said they were forgetting something. The three got nervous and checked their bags, thinking they forgot something, but Yu smiled and lovingly said goodbye to them, saying that was the missing thing. The three were shocked because no one had ever said goodbye to them with so much care. They brushed it off as childish, but their cheeks turned red and they tried to hide their smiles as they left. A little later, the girl's father called Yu and asked how he was. He asked Yu for a favor, to be a support for his daughters, because even if they were geniuses, they would have hard times, and if you helped them, maybe their hearts would open too. So Yu had chances to support them, but Yu did not understand how a talentless guy like him. He told Yu that Kazuki had an important audition coming. Nico was going to a martial arts tournament, and Miwa had shogi work, could help such genius people. Still, when he imagined these girls failing at their work, he remembered his own pain of failing and being a disappointment to his mother. Because of this, he decided he would help as much as he could, and he wanted to start by getting close through food. Later, after training, Nico came home, saw Yu cooking in the kitchen, and screamed as if she forgot they now lived in the same house. Nico saw Yu tasting his food and said without thinking that he looked really good at that moment. Yu offered her a bite. Nico wanted to try, but controlled herself and refused, saying she would not be impressed by food. Then she went to take a beauty bath. When she came back, she was surprised to see Yu cooking even more seriously, surrounded by cookbooks. At the same time, Miwa came into the kitchen and Yu announced he would make the best food for them, but the girls ignored him. Seeing this, Nico remembered that she and her sisters always refused the maid's food before. She thought she had to control her diet completely to keep her body in shape, but when she got bored of chewing dry chicken breast, she looked at Yu's dish out of curiosity. The plate looked so beautiful and delicate that Nico could not resist, and just then, Yu came behind her. He excitedly explained that the food had the nutrition her body needed to stay the best. After a lot of insistence, Nico agreed to taste it. Yu sat down, tired, and said he made everything according to a nutritionist's advice, especially for her. Nico got shy. When she tasted the food, she praised its flavor, and Yu felt like he was taming a stray cat with milk. At the same time, Miwa was secretly watching and also wanted to try. When she came forward, Yu went to her and said he made a dish with the right acids for her brain to get even sharper. Miwa also agreed to taste it, and Nico realized Yu had thought about Miwa's needs too. While eating, the sisters said it had been a long time since they ate together, and Yu smiled when he heard this. Then Kazuki came and was surprised to see both sisters sitting there. Yu started explaining the benefits of the food to her too, saying it would make her skin perfect for theater, but Kazuki coldly refused. Nico tried to support Yu, but Kazuki said family dinner was not her thing. Yu's heart broke, like a cat refusing his food. Nico felt bad because she knew how hard Yu had worked. She took the plate from Yu's hand and ate it herself. But at that moment, Yu said the dish for Kazuki had too many carbs and could make her gain weight. Hearing this, Nico got angry because she was just trying to help. Yu quickly fixed his words and said he would manage her diet too. Nico's face turned red in an instant. 3 days later, Yu's classes started. He was still thinking about how to get close to Kazuki and help her as her father wanted, so he decided to go straight to her. He caught her in the middle of a crowd of fangirls. The girls recognized Yu and teased him, calling him talentless and a failure. Kazuki also mocked him and said he should not come close because his low status would reduce her shine. At that moment, Yu begged her to accept a special gift from him, something only he could give and something that would really make her happy, and he meant food. But the girls there misunderstood and thought he was flirting with Kazuki. Kazuki got embarrassed and nervous and said Yu was giving the wrong idea and she would deal with him at home. This made things worse because because the fangirls now thought Kazuki had something going on with Yu. Yu quickly ran away from there. Then he looked for Nico to get help about Kazuki. But when he called Nico, she was only thinking about how Yu made her nervous. Nico's friends warned Yu not to get too close, but Nico came with such a scary presence that everyone stepped back. Yu then ran to his last hope. On the other side, Miwa was playing shogi on her phone in class. She saw some classmates stuck on a math question and solved it easily, but instead of praise, people got intimidated by her intelligence and stared at her strangely. Yu arrived and realized that Miwa was also very quiet at school, just like at home. Yu tried to start a conversation and invited her to lunch, but Miwa refused and walked away without looking back. Yu still did not give up and chased her all over campus, just because he wanted to eat lunch with her. In the end, both of them got tired and fell down, and Yu realized that Miwa was also weak at sports just like him. Yu asked why she was so quiet in class, and Miwa admitted that being one of the three big sisters made it hard for her to fit in with girly talks. Yu said he understood because he was also from nobility, which annoyed Miwa. Yu quickly called himself a royal failure, meaning a guy who fails at everything. Miwa laughed and called him an idiot. The mood lightened, and finally, both of them ate together. Miwa told him that if he wanted to get close to Kazuki, he had to first find out what Kazuki's favorite food was. She remembered that as a child, Kazuki once asked their mother to make something special. Yu understood that Kazuki liked their mother's cooking. Later, Yu tried to make something special, but Kazuki came into the kitchen and fainted in front of him. It turned out she had a high fever. The sisters wanted to help, but Kazuki pushed everyone out of her room. Yu did not give up and thought he would help Kazuki by sending her food, but Kazuki sent the food back every time, saying it was terrible. Yu got annoyed and went into her room with the plate himself. Kazuki tried to kick him out, but she was so weak that she stumbled and fell on Yu. Yu warned her that if she kept being stubborn, she would miss rehearsal. Then he offered to be her scene partner until she got better. He also said he was the son of the great actress Subaru and had been acting since childhood, which for a moment made Kazuki think she was in front of some natural talent. But as soon as Yu spoke the lines, his acting was so bad that Kazuki kicked him out of the room. Yu still did not give up. He came every day and tried to be the scene partner, and every time Kazuki kicked him out. This annoyed Kazuki even more, because she always kept herself perfect and flawless, and now she saw a boy in front of her who was messy and full of flaws, but still kept trying. One night, Kazuki came downstairs and saw Yu watching her performances on TV and practicing the lines to get better. This touched Kazuki inside. The next day, Yu tried again, but this time, Kazuki did not kick him out and started acting with him. This moved Yu deeply, and surprisingly, he delivered one line really well. Tears came to Yu's eyes, and he said to his mother that after so many years, he finally managed to act. Kazuki felt a strange envy for his effort and his obsession with her problem. In the end, Kazuki agreed and said she would eat his food to get better. Yu got happy and said he would make a memorable dish, but Kazuki stopped him and tried to say something. Before speaking, she hid under the blanket in embarrassment, then gathered courage and told him she did not like carrots, mushrooms, bell peppers, and many other things. Yu understood that the real problem was that Kazuki was just a very picky eater. The next morning, Miwa and Nico were shocked to see Kazuki sitting with them and eating, even though she had refused for so many days. Yu praised Kazuki for cleaning her plate, and Kazuki said the food was fine as long as there were no carrots. But Yu whispered in her ear that he had blended carrots in the sauce, which made Kazuki nervous. Yui was happy inside and thought to himself that he had tamed all three cat-like girls with his food. But then the girl said there was no need for him to make dinner anymore. Yu asked why, and they said they had to go out for training and their responsibilities. When they left, Yu remembered his mother, who also used to come home and not eat for weeks, and that was why their relationship became cold. Yu realized even more that just like his mother, these three sisters were also very smart and too obsessed with their own things, and he was still just a boy with no talent. Yu remembered his mother's old TV show, where Subaru played a loving mother, and Yu gave a tired smile at the love he saw on screen. In the show, the family was preparing a symbolic wedding to teach the kids a lesson, and seeing her in a bride's dress made Yu feel heavy inside. At that moment, the three sisters came home after training. Kazuki saw Yu's wet eyes, and thinking he was missing his mother, gently came to him and said he did not need to do housework just to get sympathy. The other two also said he was just a stranger. This hit Yu hard. He stood up and said he did not want to be a burden on anyone. He explained that for a long time, he thought the talent gap between him and his mother was so big they could never be close, but then he realized they actually had a lot in common. But before they could reconnect, Subaru was gone. Yu said he did not want this to happen again with the sisters, and he wanted to make a happy family with them. Everyone went silent. Nico said this was crazy and asked how it would happen. At that moment in the show, Subaru's wedding scene with her fake wife was playing, and suddenly the girls understood Yu could make a happy family by marrying them. For a few moments, they imagined themselves in wedding dresses, then quickly got angry and said they would never be his wives. Later, while bathing, Nico wondered how Yu could stay so focused even while living with three beautiful girls. Just then, Yu screamed, and Nico quickly went to see. She found out Yu was crying over over something stupid, and Nico scolded him for disturbing her peace. Yu replied that she should stay more covered or she would catch a cold, and hearing this, Nico got nervous and ran back to the bathroom. In the hallway, she bumped into Miwa. Miwa saw her red face and found it strange. Nico tried to change the topic, but Miwa got suspicious that it was about Yu. Just then, Yu came holding Nico's washed clothes. Miwa reached out to take the clothes, their hands touched, and Miwa jumped and dropped everything. Nico immediately teased Miwa about her red face and asked if she also liked Yu. Miwa angrily denied it, and both started arguing that they did not care about Yu. Then Kazuki came and joked that they were fighting over a useless boy. But right after that, Yu asked Kazuki to help him put a pot on the top shelf. Kazuki helped in a normal way. Then Yu smiled and thanked her, and Kazuki could not keep herself normal and blushed. The other two saw this, and the sisters started arguing again. Yu tried to stop them, saying they were fighting for no reason, but hearing this, they got even more annoyed. When they all stormed out angrily, Yu saw the house was messy again, and he got frustrated. Then he remembered the meals he had with them and felt satisfied with that small progress. At the same time, he found an old childhood photo of the sisters and was surprised at how cute they looked. He realized the photo belonged to one of them, but none of them admitted it. Yu understood that the one hiding it also remembered the old days and also had a real wish for a family. The next day, before Yu could find out whose photo it was, the sisters told him they were leaving for tournaments and their responsibilities for the weekend, and Yu got no answer. Still, seeing their destinations, he thought of a way to keep them together. At night, he made warm milk for them and told them he had booked hotel rooms for their events. Miwa complained she did not like hotel food, so Yu teased her that she would miss his cooking. Miwa got nervous and the other two stayed quiet, but inside they were thinking the same thing. The next day, the three girls left for their own challenges. Miwa arrived at the shogi tournament and easily defeated her opponents, proving why people called her a real genius. Later, while going to the hotel, she passed by the Cherry Blossom Festival and remembered the day she went there with her sisters. When Miwa reached the hotel, she was surprised to see Kazuki there too. While checking in, they asked each other why they were at the same place. Then Nico also arrived and was shocked, asking why they were at her hotel. Then they realized that, without knowing, all three of their events were in the same city. At that moment, Yu also arrived. He was clearly annoyed that they did not even know where each other was going. Then he told them they would all stay in the same room. The girls asked why, and Yu said it was a good chance for them to spend time together in one room like real sisters during their free time. Then he proudly called himself the festival guide and said he wanted to take them to the Cherry Blossom Festival, just like they used to go. But instead of being happy, the girls scolded him for doing such weird things before big competitions. To convince them, Yu said there was a shrine at the festival that brought good luck. Nico made fun of him and said real champions did not need that. Then Yu told them that big names like Messi, LeBron, Eminem, and Johnny Sins also went to that shrine for luck, so their attitude changed. After that, Yu showed them pictures of local festival food, and the girls agreed it looked much better than hotel food. Kazuki was the first to agree to go, but on the condition that if they went with her, everyone had to wear stylish clothes. Then Yu took them to a kimono rental shop. The shop owner was shocked to see the famous Mikadono sisters. Without wasting time, she put the three of them in the best kimonos and turned them into perfect Japanese beauties. But Yu saw that Nico was standing apart and did not want to join in. Yu told her to pick one of the beautiful kimonos too, but Nico refused. The shop owner suggested a blue kimono that matched her sporty style, but this reminded Nico that she used to want to wear more delicate and soft clothes, but was always forced to be more boyish. At that moment, Yu picked a pink kimono for Nico, very feminine. The shop owner and the sisters thought the style would not suit Nico, but Yu insisted that she would look beautiful in it. Nico could not say anything and finally agreed to wear it. When she came out in the dress, everyone was shocked at how amazing she looked. She looked so beautiful that anyone would be ready to fight for her. A little later, as soon as Nico entered the festival, Kazuki was already surrounded by a crowd of obsessed fans. They screamed about her acting and praised every scene she did. Nico, Miwa, and Yu stood to the side and just watched the show. Yu did not like it because his plan was for Kazuki to spend time with her sisters, but he saw Kazuki shining in that crowd, so he did not interfere. In that crowd, there was one girl who was not impressed by all the praise about Kazuki. Annoyed, she did not stop her friend, but instead started to leave herself. But while walking, her sandal broke and she almost fell. At that moment, Kazuki suddenly appeared, caught her, and saved her in a prince-like way. The girl, who was just now acting stuck up, felt her heart move a little. Kazuki smiled and helped her stand up straight, and the fans around went even crazier. But when Kazuki tried to go back to the crowd, someone pulled her behind the bushes. There was Yu, holding a snack, insisting she actually enjoy the festival. Kazuki laughed sarcastically, but Yu stayed serious. He noticed her feet were hurt from the tight sandal straps and said he knew how much it must hurt. Kazuki teased him for noticing such things, but Yu was tired of her pride and forced her to let him bandage her foot. When he saw the state of her feet, he was shocked and scolded her for not asking for help. Kazuki proudly said she had to be everyone's prince, and princes do not show weakness. Yu laughed and said even the strongest prince needs help sometimes. He told her to put her foot forward offered, and Kazuki, surprised, agreed in a very normal way. Yu gently put on the bandage, and her pain lessened. On the other side, Nico and Miwa were at the fish catching game, and Nico was losing badly to the small fish, not catching a single one. At that moment, Kazuki and Yu arrived, and the sisters laughed at the strange mask on Kazuki's face. Yu explained it was to keep her from attracting too much attention. Then, everyone joined the game and made teams to see who could catch more fish. Miwa joked to Kazuki to keep the mask on because her face always looked like she ate something bad, and the mask made her look less harsh. After a few rounds, the girls got fully into the game, and Yu stepped back to plan the next part. Seeing their excitement, Yu went to the main event of the festival. It was a strange challenge where you had to cross a lake by stepping on lotus leaves. The prize was unbeatable luck and a photo with the shrine's golden guardian. This was the same special memory the Mikadono sisters once made together, and Yu wanted to bring it back. But the challenge was not easy. Right at the start, one contestant fell into the water, and everyone realized that some leaves sank immediately. Then, one by one, people kept falling into the water. The organizers remembered that in the past, the Mikadono sisters completed this challenge really well. Now it was Yu's turn, and he also fell into the water. But unlike the others, he did not give up. He kept trying again and again until people started getting worried by his stubbornness. An hour passed, then heavy rain started, and Yu was still there, falling, getting up, and refusing to quit. The organizers said that since everyone else had quit, they would just give him the win. But Yu did not accept the easy way. He closed his eyes and thought about how the sisters won it before by combining their own strengths. Then, with belief, courage, and one last try, he stepped again and amazingly crossed the lake and reached the end. People clapped, and the organizers congratulated him, then asked for the photo. But Yu said he needed a moment and ran to get the sisters. When he came back, the festival was empty. Because of the rain, the festival had closed early. Yu blamed himself for being selfish, getting caught up in the contest, and forgetting that the sisters were not even that interested in coming. But at that moment, the three sisters arrived with umbrellas and covered him from the rain. Yu was surprised they had not left. With a mischievous smile, they said they were not so heartless as to leave their friend behind. Kazuki teased Yu and reminded him that he was the boss of the festival outing, so he had to keep working. Yu got his courage back. Yu, soaked, sat on the ground, and all three sisters tried to give him their own umbrellas. Then they all realized they wanted the same thing, to walk close to him and hold his hand. To decide, they played rock, paper, scissors. But inside, each one wanted to get a chance to walk with Yu. Nico lost, and when she walked with Yu, her heart beat so fast that she got nervous herself. Back at the hotel, the three sisters relaxed in the outdoor bath. After what happened, Nico wondered why she got so nervous getting close to Yu. She absent-mindedly started thinking about her own body and wondered which size would attract him more. Miwa and Kazuki laughed and teased her that her tricks would not work against their superpowers. After leaving the bath, when the three came out, they met Yu. He was still messy and looked a bit lost. They asked what happened, and Yu shyly said he forgot to book a room for himself because he spent the whole day trying to make them happy. He said goodbye and added he would stay outside with his friends, but Kazuki did not let him take a single step. In a blink, Yu ended up staying with them. The sisters clearly said they would not leave him alone, especially when they lived in the same house on normal days too. Yu thanked them and said he needed to find a robe for bathing. At the same time, he bumped into Kazuki, who was also looking for a robe, and she got nervous because of how close he was. Miwa helped look for the robe, but when Yu got close, she smelled his scent and almost fainted. Then Nico came and saw the robe on the top shelf. Since she was short, Yu reached over her to get the robe, and when Nico smelled his cologne, she also could not handle it. When Yu went for a shower, the three sisters got worried that things were getting dangerous. That night, none of them could sleep. They knew the reason was that Yu was in the same room, but they told themselves it was just excitement from the festival and competitions. On the other side, Yu was totally fine and happy with the result of the day. He remembered how hard it was to get the sisters to smile for the photo at first, but when he accidentally got even more soaked, they all laughed loudly and he got the perfect picture. He felt happy that he had recreated the old memory photo. Then, when he looked for the photo, it was gone, and there was a note saying the real owner had taken it back. Yu was surprised he was not angry. He felt that one of the sisters was really thankful for the trip, and with that thought, he smiled and went to sleep. In the morning, the sisters woke up and got annoyed that Yu slept so easily. Then, they started talking about the day. They remembered that Yu picked the perfect floral kimono for Nico, just like she used to like before she became everyone's tomboy. Nico admitted with some embarrassment that Yu made the right choice. Kazuki also said Yu pulled her out of her star mood and made her really enjoy the festival. Miwa laughed, but she remembered she still got stuck at the game stalls, even though she was not good at them, and usually needed Kazuki to win her a prize. All these things made them think, and Kazuki said that at home, they all lived so far in their own worlds that they got cut off from each other. Then they realized that Yu really brought the sisters together again. Looking at the two photos, Miwa felt a warm feeling in her chest that her sisters, even for one night, came back like before. And all this was because of the boy who got everything right. Then, all three happily went to sleep because Yu had made the night memorable for them. The next day, Yu saw on TV that all three girls had won their competitions. He realized again again, that no matter what, they were still geniuses with no match. After the festival day, the sisters had become even closer, like real sisters living together, and this warmed Yu's heart. He still remembered he promised to make them a big dinner, so after school, he ran home excitedly to prepare the feast. But as soon as he opened the door, he was surprised. The girls were already home even before the set time, and what shocked him more was that there was a fourth pair of shoes at the door. When Yu went inside, he saw a man in the house standing in front of the girls. As soon as he spoke, Yu recognized him as the Mikadano father. Yu greeted him awkwardly and thanked him for letting him stay in the house. Mikadano's father seriously mentioned Subaru's death and said her talent could live on in his son too, but only if he worked very hard. During this, Yu felt a heavy silence. The sisters were quiet and tense. Yu understood their father was putting pressure on them and demanding results. Like a judge, all three told him in cold voices that they were the best in their competitions and no one could beat them. Mikadano's father just nodded and told them to keep going like that and started to leave. Yu suddenly stopped him. He excitedly said he was making a big dinner and invited him to stay too. But Mikadano's father said in a dry tone that the daughters had already reported, so there was no reason to stay. Then he noticed the festival mask. Yu happily explained he took the girls to the festival. It was his idea, so they could relive childhood memories and take a photo at the lucky shrine. But Mikadano's father did not like this. He angrily said his daughters did not need some stupid luck to shine. Then he got harsher and said he knew Yu was talentless, useless, and a disappointment to a great actress like Subaru. He broke the mask in anger and threw it at Yu, saying there was no place for a failure in this house. Then he grabbed Yu's shoulder hard as if to force him out. At that moment, the sisters stepped in and defended Yu. They said that even without trophies and talent, Yui was someone who worked hard and took care of the house like no one else. Mikadano's father, surprised, asked how they could live with a zero. Each GPA. The sisters were nervous but firmly said they needed Yu, and he was the one who kept them focused and on top. This hit Yu's heart like someone had hugged him. Hearing his daughters, Mikadano's father, even if he did not agree inside, let Yu stay, but gave one condition. He said they had to focus on their talent and forget useless things like festivals. He left, so Yu tried to lighten the mood by saying, "Let's eat dinner," but Nico said with a sad look that now it would not happen. After a week, Yu was back where he started, eating alone. Now he understood the girls' scary talent was because of their father's pressure, but he could not forget how sad they looked that day in front of him. The sisters kept training non-stop. Nico in martial arts, Kazuki in theater classes, and Miwa in chess. During snack time, Miwa remembered Yu's homemade pudding, which was much better than the biscuits she was eating now. The other two also remembered Yu's food, which seemed chef-level to them. At home, Yu was still shaken by Mikadano's father's words that he was holding the girls back. All Yu wanted was for the sisters to sit and eat together like a real family and get closer. He felt like everything had fallen apart, but then he remembered his mother's words that he could make a happy family, so he decided it was not over. The next morning, the girls left for school. Nico looked back and felt heavy because Yu did not wish them good luck anymore. At lunch, she took out her usual protein bar, but her friends made fun of how boring it was. Nico said protein was the real thing, but when she opened her bag, there was a lunchbox full of homemade food, so beautiful that her friends got jealous. Kazuki and Miwa also had the same clean lunchboxes. Everyone understood Yu made them. Seeing the food, Nico felt warm inside because she realized Yu still cared for them. Meanwhile, Yu was stumbling in class from tiredness because he woke up at 4 in the morning to make the food. When he got home, he felt peace when he saw the girls had eaten everything. Then the sisters called him to talk and said they would stand up for him to stay, but the condition was that he had to join their routine and keep helping them be the best. Yu could not stop smiling because he felt the girls had really accepted him. The next morning, he carefully prepared the lunchboxes for the day and happily said good morning. When the girls left the house, they felt a soft, good feeling inside. At school, Kazuki was nervous because, for the first time, she was going to play a female role and felt strange wearing a wig. Nico got a call from her old mentor during training, the same man who taught her everything. He said he would come to see her tournament and wanted her to win the trophy. Miwa, during a shogi match against a big master, felt the weight of expectations because her opponent also wanted her to take the next step and win the title. In the evening, all three came home sad because everywhere there was pressure to always be the best. But as soon as they got home, they saw Yui in the kitchen, making homemade udon for dinner in his usual clumsy way. When he almost slipped, all three laughed loudly and, for a few moments, forgot all the pressure. With a shy smile, Yu served the udon, his first try. When they ate it, they were surprised the taste was just normal, nothing special. But, completely opposite to their father's words, they realized that something that was just okay could also feel really good. Like Yu's effort made it special. After dinner, Yu was washing dishes when Kazuki came and offered to help. Yu looked at her in surprise, so Kazuki blushed a little and said she wanted to work on her more feminine side. Yu smiled and said washing dishes had nothing to do with gender. Then he took the chance to ask about her audition. Kazuki admitted she was nervous, but as soon as she entered the house and saw Yu, all her worries went away and she felt like everything would be fine. time. At that moment, Kazuki saw cuts on Yu's fingers and was surprised, thinking Yu was a skilled cook. Yu laughed and said no, it was not a special talent, just hard work. Just then, a dish slipped from Yu's hand. Kazuki, who had broken many plates before, got tense, but Yu reassured her not to worry. He had switched all the plates to strong plastic ones. Then, while handing over dishes, Yu stumbled from tiredness again, and his nose started bleeding. Kazuki panicked and tried to help, but she slipped, and suddenly they kissed, and it was closer than expected. Yu got lost in happiness for a moment, then panicked and apologized, saying it was an accident. Surprisingly, Kazuki stayed completely calm, just said it was an accident and went to her room. Seeing her seriousness, Yu was impressed and thought maybe she was used to these scenes as an actress, but in reality, that was not true. The next day, Nico told Kazuki to turn on the TV. As soon as a couple kissed in a scene, Kazuki immediately turned off the TV and walked away angrily. Later, she saw Miwa eating Yu's pudding. Miwa jokingly offered her some and said the taste was like a kiss of true love. Hearing the word kiss, Kazuki got annoyed. She went to her room and blushed in embarrassment, clearly shaken by what happened the day before. At that moment, Yu came to the door, so Kazuki shouted that he should knock before coming in. Yu apologized and said he wanted to talk about the kiss. He thought Kazuki would not like the idea of kissing a useless guy like him, so he said they should just pretend nothing happened, and the kiss meant nothing. He left, thinking that was what Kazuki wanted. But Kazuki got angry at this, and was hurt that Yu called it meaningless. At the audition, Kazuki tried to focus on the female role, because her father always said a great actress should be able to play any role. But even with the wig, her voice still sounded like a prince. She watched other actresses, and when she saw one act with a sweet voice and teary eyes, she tried to copy her. Then, when the kiss scene came, the memory of kissing Yu flashed in her mind, and she pulled back at the last moment. The director stopped the rehearsal and warned her not to let personal things affect her performance. This gave Kazuki an idea. At home, she went to Yu and asked him to make food that would give her energy so she could perform better. Yu happily agreed, thinking everything was back to normal. But then Kazuki suddenly said something else. She firmly told him to go out with her on Sunday. Yu was shocked and kept thinking if this was because of the kiss. Meanwhile, Nico and Miwa were secretly listening and were shocked. They did not understand why Kazuki wanted to date Yu, since they thought he had no special talent. Both were worried about Yu, but quietly locked themselves in their rooms and acted like they knew nothing. Later, Yu took Kazuki aside and seriously asked what the real reason was. Kazuki clearly said she was very nervous about an important audition where she had to play a heroine. To really live the role, she wanted to feel what it was like to be a real protagonist. Yu was impressed by her dedication and happily supported her, thinking her hard work and passion were amazing. Kazuki looked at him seriously and firmly said this had to be a complete secret. No one could know, and he should not take it the wrong way. But Yu already had it in his mind that if Kazuki wanted to shine, she needed the experience of a real date. With shining eyes, he encouraged her and said he had prepared something special for her, something memorable. Kazuki blushed and tried to hide her fast heartbeat. The next morning, Nico cornered Yu out of curiosity and suspiciously asked what he was going to do on Sunday. Yu brushed it off and said nothing special. Nico was shocked and thought it was a clear lie. She immediately imagined Yu and Kazuki laughing behind her back. On the other side, Miwa also knew about the date plan, and her mind started imagining strange scenes. At dinner, the mood was heavy, and Yu felt something was wrong. When Kazuki talked to Yu about the date, Nico and Miwa got even more jealous. Yu got worried and wondered if the sisters were upset for a special reason. On Sunday, Yu waited for Kazuki excitedly, not knowing Nico and Miwa were watching him. They were in their own disguises. The plan was to look weird, but in the end, they looked even cuter. Then Kazuki arrived, and everyone stared at her. She was shining in her most feminine look. Yu was stunned, and Nico and Miwa watched in jealousy as Kazuki attracted all the attention. Kazuki happily grabbed Yu's hand and started the date in a movie heroine style, making Yu feel like the luckiest guy in the world. The two went to the aquarium, and Nico and Miwa followed, still amazed by Kazuki's look. Going inside, Kazuki, out of habit, tried to lead Yu up the stairs, but Yu laughed and stopped her, saying today she was the princess, not the prince. They switched places, and Kazuki struggled to hold back her laughter. During the show, she tried hard to act cute, so Yu gently told her to relax and really put herself into it. Only then would she feel the role. Just then, dolphins splashed water, and Kazuki jumped in front of Yu to protect him from getting wet, like she was the one in control in the relationship. People clapped, but Nico and Miwa were angry, thinking Kazuki was dominating Yu everywhere. The date continued, and Kazuki had trouble acting like a heroine. Nico and Miwa thought the date was failing and felt a bit satisfied, but then Yu went to the bathroom, and Kazuki was left alone. She got nervous and feared she would disappoint Yu. At that moment, a sleazy man appeared, and seeing Kazuki's beauty, offered her a shady talent contract, saying he could get her roles with big stars. Kazuki refused, but the man did not back off. Then Yu came back, and, this time, told the man strongly to leave. The man still said Kazuki could become a star, but Yu lost his patience. He emotionally and firmly said she was not going anywhere, because he would marry her and have wonderful children with this woman. Silence fell, and the man quickly disappeared in embarrassment. People around were impressed by Yu's romantic words, but Yu blushed and told Kazuki to forget what he said. But Kazuki's heart was already melted, and she was really moved by his action. Yu took her hand and, feeling the warmth of her fingers, led her to the next place, the cinema. On the way, they did not let go of each other's hands, until some passersby joked that Yu looked like Kazuki's little brother. Yu got annoyed inside and squeezed Kazuki's hand harder, making her let out a small sound. Kazuki felt that this made her feel more feminine, so she squeezed his hand back and Yu playfully squeezed even harder. This hand game brought them even closer. Nico and Miwa watched and could not understand what kind of strange connection this was. Nico and Miwa, secretly following, were surprised when Yu and Kazuki reached the theater. Yu excitedly showed Kazuki he had bought tickets for a romantic movie. But Kazuki frowned because the movie's heroine was her old colleague who also dreamed of becoming a big star. During the movie, Kazuki started feeling strange. Her colleague's acting reminded her of her own past when she played male villain roles. She did not see that girl as a heroine at all. After the movie, she overheard people saying the heroine was bad and not cute at all. These words hit Kazuki inside, and she remembered her father's words to never fail. Her chest felt heavy, and the fear of failure woke up again. Seeing Kazuki's mood, Yu realized he picked the wrong movie. He felt bad seeing Kazuki so unsure about her acting. To save the mood, he suggested the next plan, the Ferris wheel. Kazuki and the sisters following behind rolled their eyes at how cliche this was. But then people there talked about a tradition that whoever confessed at the top of the Ferris wheel would always be together. Hearing this, Nico, Miwa, and even Kazuki felt a little shock inside, thinking Yu might do anything to make the date perfect. Kazuki tried to make an excuse to escape, but Yu confidently smiled and pulled her into the cabin. Inside, Kazuki's embarrassment kept growing. Her heart beat fast, and she remembered all of Yu's effort. Then she thought about her own journey. She started modeling because of her height, then shined on stage in male roles, and made a name for herself. But over time, success became a chain around her neck. Failure was not an option. Her father's words echoed in her ears, and the fear surrounded her that she might not be able to play the feminine heroine role right. She started doubting herself, and even thought about quitting the role to avoid failure. Lost in these thoughts, she saw Yu shaking and sweating. She worriedly asked if he was okay. Yu tried to brush it off, but admitted it was not the height, but the transparent floor below that was scaring him. Kazuki laughed and scolded him for picking the Ferris wheel bin. Determination appeared in Yu's eyes, and he said it was because this date had to be perfect for her. Hearing this, Kazuki thought Yu was about to say something big. Yu stood up seriously, and Kazuki held her breath, scared he was about to confess. But at the last moment, Yu's tongue twisted, he got stuck on his words, and messed everything up, looking like a complete idiot. Kazuki laughed and told him to sit down, but inside, she felt peace. Seeing Yu fail but still try reminded her of the freedom he had, which she did not, and she started to envy him. Yu sat next to Kazuki and took out his phone to show her the date pictures. He said every time she failed at being a heroine, she looked beautiful and real. Then he gently said that failing hurts, but that is how you know who really accepts you with your flaws. This hit Kazuki like lightning. She wanted to disagree, but inside she felt Yu was right. When the Ferris wheel stopped, Nico and Miwa, still secretly watching, were shocked. How did Kazuki go from a bad mood at the cinema to laughing so lightly? What happened inside? Then Yu and Kazuki walked along the river. There was a new sparkle in Kazuki's eyes, and she admitted that today, because of Yu, she understood it was okay to fail, because there would always be someone who accepted her as she was. She said now she wanted to really live as herself in acting. Yu, with a mischievous smile, said if she ever stopped, she should just remember this date. Kazuki blushed and had no answer. Nico and Miwa got nervous seeing the closeness between the two. Nico especially feared this closeness would continue at home. Then Kazuki looked at Yu, and her heart filled with gratitude that he changed her thinking. She pulled him close without thinking. Yu, Nico, and Miwa all froze for a moment, thinking a kiss was about to happen. But Kazuki just leaned in very close to his ear and softly said that the kiss was her first time, and she would never forget that her lips touched his lips. Yu's face turned red, and he did not know where to look. Nico and Miwa also did not understand what happened, and got even more confused. Then Kazuki took off her wig and returned to her normal self. She said the date was over, now she had to practice more. She left Yu alone, and all that was left on his face was a stupid, happy smile. Nico and Miwa watched all this from a distance and understood that something had changed inside Kazuki, and it was all because of Yu. Later, at home, Yu apologized for being late and quickly started making dinner. He was surprised when Nico and Miwa warmly welcomed him. Yu could not believe it and asked them to say it again. He did not know they had watched the whole date in secret, and, deep down, wanted Yu to do something like that for them too. Sometime later, Yu and the girls were walking to school in the morning, and the sun was shining brightly. Kazuki and Miwa, being smart people, walked calmly, but Yu and Nico, the more clueless types, were running with the time and looking at their last notes before the test. Kazuki teased them by calling them airheads, but when she saw Yu and Nico sharing notes and laughing so close, Kazuki and Miwa felt a bit jealous inside. Deep down, they also wished they were not so perfect and could sometimes laugh carelessly like that. Suddenly, a boy came running and bumped into Yu. A woman behind screamed that he was a thief who stole her purse. Yu's heart raced and he ran after the thief to be a hero, but he turned out to be very slow at running. Nico did not waste time. She went straight in front of the thief and got ready to teach him a lesson, but she was surprised that the thief also knew how to fight and started showing martial arts moves, making it a real challenge. Yu got worried Nico might get hurt, but Kazuki smiled confidently and said not to worry. Nico was Bruce Lee in a skirt. And really, Nico took down the thief with a few good moves, got the purse back, and people around clapped and praised her. The woman thanked her, and some boys also came to Nico impressed. Nico felt a little sting of jealousy inside, but hid it. Yu saw a small cut on Nico's hand. Nico said it was nothing, but Yu took out a bandage from his pocket and carefully put it on her hand. Seeing his gentleness, Nico blushed and her heart beat faster. But the moment did not last long, because the thief got up and started running again. This time, he ran straight into a group of boys from another school. Their leader, a tall and very handsome boy, Hayato Tatsumi, took down the thief in one move. People were shocked and recognized Hayato as a national-level martial arts champion, a real genius. Kazuki and Miwa were surprised and said he was their old friend. And when Nico met Hayato's eyes, she called him by his first name, and there was a closeness in her tone that made Yu curious. With a confident smile, Hayato told Nico he came to get her. Later, Hayato and his team came to Nico's dojo for a week of training. Nico's team was surprised to see Yu there too, helping so much. The vice captain explained that Nico and Hayato knew each other from their first dojo, but Yu started to get suspicious of Hayato and felt this guy was not right. Compared to the other faces in Nico's team, Hayato stood out so much that every girl's eyes were on him, and jealousy and distrust spread in the team. Then Nico got fired up and challenged Hayato to a friendly match, just like old times. Hayato hesitated, worried he might hurt a girl, but Nico insisted and was determined to show her strength. Yu and everyone else cheered for her, but Hayato easily defeated Nico with his skill. Everyone was shocked. Nico, catching her breath, was about to ask for a rematch when Yu jumped in angrily. He told Hayato he should have been gentle with Nico. Hayato looked at Yu in confusion, as if asking who he was. After Nico's anger cooled, she told Yu to speak to Hayato with respect, and then explained that Hayato was her hero. She explained that in their first dojo, when some jealous boys surrounded her because she was better than them, Hayato came, beat everyone, and saved her. Since then, Nico had liked and respected him from her heart. At that moment, Hayato stepped forward and praised Nico's skill, but then shocked everyone by saying he wanted to take Nico to his team. He explained that his school used to be for boys only, but now it was co-ed, and he had already talked to Mikadono's father. According to Hayato, if Nico really wanted to grow as a fighter, she had to leave her weak team and go with him. Everyone was shocked, and Nico's team felt bad. Hayato clearly said none of them were on Nico's level, and that was why her growth was stuck. Silence fell on the team. Nico tried to defend her friends, but with heavy hearts, they admitted they always relied on her. With tears in their eyes, they said that no matter how much it hurt, maybe it was better for Nico to go with Hayato. After school, Nico was walking with Yu, and all these things were spinning in her mind. Yu curiously asked what she thought about Hayato's offer. Nico said Hayato's school was every fighter's dream. They had nutritionists, dorms for athletes, and the training level was very high. Yu was impressed, but he felt hesitation in Nico's voice. For the first time, Nico admitted she was not the same straightforward Nico as before. She was stuck. She did not want to leave her sisters or Yu. In a weak moment, she grabbed Yu's hand, blushed, and said she wanted them all to stay together. Yu was about to answer when suddenly Nico's team appeared and shouted that they also wanted Nico not to go, then quickly ran away in embarrassment. Yu smiled and said her friends wanted to stop her too. Nico was happy, but still felt the sting that Yu did not answer her. That night at dinner, Nico was absent-mindedly chewing her food when Kazuki suddenly offered her expensive shampoo, which she normally never shared. Miwa also pushed a piece of food from her plate to Nico, which was very rare. Both, in their own strange ways, showed how important Nico was to them. Nico was confused by this sudden love. Then Yu said meaningfully that since the whole school knew Hayato wanted to take her, the other two were pampering her so she would not go. Nico felt a warmth inside that her sisters wanted her to stay so much. But then, thinking about Yu, a question started to sting inside her. If she left, what did Yu want? He still had not said anything clear, and that kept Nico restless. The next day, training was going on in the dojo when Nico took a deep breath and went to Hayato. She firmly said she was not going to his school. Her team cheered in happiness, and the whole hall was filled with cheers. But Hayato got furious. He angrily asked what she was doing. Would she waste her time with these losers or shine with him? Nico calmly answered that she could be the best by following her own path. Hayato turned red and insulted her, saying what happened to her had she become soft and weak. These words hurt Nico, but before she could answer, something unexpected happened. Yu came out from behind the locker, and his face showed he would not tolerate the insults. He told Hayato to stop talking to Nico like that. Then he stepped forward and said he would prove Nico made the right choice by staying with someone better than Hayato, so he challenged Hayato to a duel. He said whoever won would be considered the strongest, and would decide if Nico stayed at the school or not. Then Yu said he wanted to stay with Nico and would do whatever it took to win. Hearing this, Nico's heart started beating fast, and her face turned red. The team thought it was crazy, because Yu was skinny and Hayato was big and strong. But the vice captain suddenly revealed that Yui was Subaru's son, the legendary actress who did her own action scenes without a stunt double. Hearing this, Hayato paused for a moment, but still thought he deserved to win. Yu looked into Nico's eyes and said he would be the one to stay with her. These words hit Nico so hard, it felt like the ground shook. Later at home, Nico trained Yu and put all her hope in him, because now her future depended on this duel. Nico ordered him to first learn to move properly. Yu, excited, started doing dance steps instead of fighting, making Nico smile and let it go. Then Nico warned him Hayato's biggest strength was his kicks, so Yu had to get close to him. Yu rushed in too fast, and Nico reflexively punched him and knocked him down. During the break, Yu, despite the pain, seriously said he was far behind Hayato but would not give up. The important thing was that Nico stayed with him. Nico blushed, but then Yu unconsciously ruined the moment by saying, "And with your sisters too." Then he lightly said he liked it when she left the house every morning, and he wanted Nico to tell him everything. Then suddenly, he pinned her against the wall and strongly told her to say how she felt. Nico could not hold her feelings and said she liked it too when he walked with her in the morning. She wanted to stay because of her sisters and also because of Yu. Yu got happy and smiled, but just then, Kazuki and Miwa came out from behind the door, who had been secretly listening. They announced they would help with Yu's training and make sure he won. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Hayato opened the challenge letter Yuwa sent. It had a strict condition that in the duel, Hayato could not use his strongest body parts. Since he had already accepted the challenge, now he was bound by this condition. This annoyed him even more, but at the same time, he was surprised by Yu's courage. After a tough training session that left their bodies aching from the hard training, Yu and Nico reached the dojo canteen and were both shocked. Kazuki and Miwa were standing there in colorful aprons, looking like they were about to do a cooking show. They excitedly said they would do their best to help Yu. Yu felt a warm feeling from their love, but as soon as they saw the result in the kitchen, they were stunned. The food looked so strange, it seemed like it might come alive and start moving, and getting close to it was dangerous. Kazuki and Miwa themselves realized the plan failed, and their faces dropped like they had lost a game. Yu felt sorry for them, so to cheer them up, he said, "Why not let him teach them how to cook properly?" They both acted stubborn and said they did not need help, but Yu quietly told Nico to say she really wanted to eat their homemade food. Nico laughed and played along, and finally, both agreed and got happy with the idea. Yu started with the basics and taught them to cook vegetables so they did not burn into coal. Kazuki's memory was amazing. She picked up the recipe right away. Yu praised her openly, and Kazuki's cheeks turned red. Then he went to Miwa, who was trying not to cut her fingers while peeling potatoes. In a moment of distraction, Miwa accidentally called Yu sir, and got so embarrassed it looked like she wanted to hide her face in the apron. Yu praised their effort, even with their mistakes, and thought that even talented people worked hard at things they were weak at. After many tries, laughter, and a lot of mess, Kazuki and Miwa finally got it right. This time, they made a beautiful dish, and the smell was so good it made the mouth water. Nico's eyes widened in surprise, and she said they made her favorite dish. It was nothing like the old mud food. She took a bite and immediately said it was really delicious. Kazuki and Miwa looked at each other and smiled, proud of their achievement. When Yu started to eat, he noticed his hand was shaking. Without thinking, Miwa took the spoon and fed Yu herself, telling him to just eat. Nico and Kazuki's faces showed surprise. Yu blushed a little and praised the taste, and Miwa lit up with happiness. Kazuki did not want to be left behind, so with a small mischievous smile, she also fed Yu herself. When Yu praised her food too, both felt as happy as if they had won a big prize. Nico just watched all this, and jealousy and frustration were both clear in her eyes. The next day, training continued, and Kazuki and Miwa started pampering Yu too much. Sometimes snacks, sometimes water, as if he was a king. Nico was already annoyed and said to end the session, but Yu's eyes had that stubborn shine, and he wanted to keep going. Seeing this, Nico also got fired up. She grumbled, but then joined the training again with full energy on the mat. At school, Hayato, who was also Nico's rival, was deep in thought. He tried to understand why a focused fighter like Nico was now so hesitant and hiding behind others. When he met Nico on the way, he did not stay quiet. He directly said Nico had become weak, relying on others to avoid making decisions. Then he threw the challenge that when he broke her, Nico would come to his dojo. Without waiting for an answer, he turned and left. Later, during training, Nico saw Yu's punches were stronger than before. She praised him, but Hayato's words stung her again. Tears came to her eyes, and she told Yu she was sorry for dragging him into this mess. She admitted it was all because of her, because she herself did not know what she wanted. She said Hayato and Mikadono's father always wanted her to be the best fighter, but inside, she also wanted to be delicate and feminine. With a shaking voice, she said she did not understand who she really was. Yu calmly said he was the one who challenged Hayato, and Nico was more feminine than she thought. Then he reminded her he had seen her enjoying flowers before, and Nico got embarrassed. Yu said Nico was both strong and beautiful, and there was nothing strange about it. He helped her up from the floor floor. Nico blushed, gave him a light punch, and said only he said such things to her. Still confused, Nico asked Yu for help and said she needed him because of her hesitation. Yu said they would face Hayato together. Nico immediately thought of 2 versus 1, but Yu said he had another plan. On the day of the fight, Kazuki and Miwa were so nervous they could not focus on their own activities, only thinking about what would happen with Yu and Nico against Hayato. In the dojo, everyone was shocked when Yu made a strange suggestion. He said there would be 2 fights with Hayato, first himself, then Nico, and if either of them won, Nico would not have to go to Hayato's dojo. The crowd, and even Nico, looked at Yu like he was the villain in the story. But Yu leaned in close to Nico's ear and said he did not care about people, he just wanted to save her. Nico blushed, but then saw that Yu was shaking with fear. Without thinking, Nico grabbed Yu's hands, gave him a light slap, and shouted for him to go crush Hayato and show the result of a week's training. But a few minutes later, Yu was lying on the ground, defeated. No one was surprised after all. He had only trained for a week. Now it was Nico's turn to face Hayato. The weight of the moment hit her, but when Yu shouted he would wait for her at home, something cleared in Nico's mind. She moved forward, remembering Hayato liked kicks, so she stayed very close and attacked non-stop. But Hayato, who knew all her moves from years of fighting, easily blocked everything. Then he suddenly punched her in the stomach. Nico fell and asked for a moment to catch her breath. Hayato confidently said Nico should give up and come with him to become stronger. For a moment, Nico thought maybe he was right, and she even considered giving up. But then Yu started shouting for Nico not to give up and got Nico's team to cheer loudly with him. Nico was annoyed at first, so embarrassed she got angry, but then she laughed and something changed inside her. Remembering Yu's words, she accepted herself as she really was. When she attacked again, Hayato expected a punch, but Nico kicked him, something she never did before. Then he expected a straight hit, but Nico slapped them. Nico's team kept cheering because they saw Nico breaking her limits and fighting in a free new way. Yu noticed something else. Nico was smiling. Her attacks got her 2 points, and she was just 1 step away from winning. Hayato, frustrated, said she was not the old Nico anymore. Nico jumped and said this was the real her and called him an idiot. At that moment, Kazuki and Miwa also arrived and saw Nico smiling, land a great jumping kick on Hayato, and win the match. The whole dojo filled with claps and cheers. Hayato's team could not believe the area's best fighter had lost. With shining eyes, Nico looked at Yu. With teary eyes, she grabbed the towel Yu gave her, then cried happily and embarrassed on his shoulder. Laughing and crying, she said to let her cry just this once. Her heart felt warm because she realized she would not have to leave her sisters and Yuo. Before leaving, Nico apologized to Hayato for the result and said she understood he only wanted the best for her. Hayato's eyes were sad, but with a small smile, he kept his promise and said he would not insist on her coming with him. Nico also apologized for Yu's performance and called him weak, but Hayato, with respect, showed the purple mark on his leg and explained Yu had hit him in the same spot every time, which made him weak for Nico's final attack. He admitted that was why he could not dodge. Nico started apologizing again, but Hayato stopped her and said Yu only fought so hard because he really cared about Nico. Then suddenly, Hayato's cheeks turned red and he blurted out that he did not want to bring Nico to his school just as a friend, but because he liked her in a romantic way. Nico was lost for a moment and thought it was a joke, like light teasing, but when Hayato made it clear he was serious, Nico turned as red as a tomato and almost exploded with embarrassment. She barely managed to ask since when he felt that way. Hayato gave a straight and simple answer. Hayato told Nico that since the first day she came to the dojo and they met, he wanted to be close to her. Then with a sad smile, he said now he understood. The person Nico wanted by her side was already at her school, and he meant Yu. This sparked something inside Nico. When they said goodbye and wished each other good luck, Yu's face flashed in Nico's mind like lightning. No matter how much she tried to deny it, her heart beat faster, and she clearly felt her feelings for Yu were not just friendship. Lost in her thoughts, Nico walked home, still processing the win, but as soon as she opened the door, she was surprised. Inside, Yu and the sisters had set up a small party. The purpose was to celebrate Nico's win and the fact that she was not leaving. Nico noticed Yu's injured hands, covered in bandages. Yu tried to brush it off as nothing, but Nico touched his wounds with love and care and softly told him not to push himself so hard. Then, in gratitude, she said for what he did for her, she would do anything he asked. The mood lightened, but suddenly, Nico got a strange thought and imagined Yu in some very over-the-top way, like he was going to do something naughty. Nico panicked and screamed, echoing through the house. Everyone else heard the scream and immediately jumped to wild conclusions, thinking Yu was crossing a line. In a funny mess, everyone started telling Yu to ask for whatever he wanted, just to calm her down, and everyone imagined strange things Yu might ask for. But to everyone's surprise, Yu just smiled and said he wanted everyone to go to the amusement park together. The girls, who were expecting something more daring, were a little disappointed and thought in their hearts if Yu was really a boy or a girl, but then they all got happy. Yu explained it was always his dream to spend a day at the park with his family, with people who felt like siblings. The girls imagined the outing and then turned it into a romantic date in their minds, making their faces turn red with embarrassment and excitement. excitement. At that moment, Nico's phone rang. It was Mikadono's father. Nico was about to say something, but Yu grabbed the phone and, with unexpected courage, said the sisters should go to the amusement park. Too much hard work was not good for health. Mikadono's father, surprised, said he wanted to talk to Nico. Nico took the phone and he congratulated her for defeating Hayato, who is considered the country's best martial arts fighter. He said Nico had become strong and did not need to change schools. Then he praised her growth and, remembering Yu's involvement, finally agreed to the outing. Nico shared the news with everyone and Yu announced they would go on the weekend. In the next few days, Nico, Miwa, and Kazuki got fully involved. Choosing clothes, planning how to act, and thinking of ways to impress Yu at the park became their only hobby. On Sunday, Yu arrived at the park first, both excited and nervous. Suddenly, Miwa came from behind, covered his eyes, and told him to guess who she was. Yu recognized her right away and praised her casual look, saying it was simple and stylish. Miwa felt confident and thought she had won because dressing like a model at the park would be too much. Then Kazuki arrived, looking like a magazine cover. Miwa was speechless and scolded her, saying this was a park, not a runway. But Yu praised Kazuki's courage and her bold look, and Kazuki blushed right away. Finally, Nico arrived, and everyone stopped to stare at her. She was unrecognizable, wearing a delicate dress and looking just like a princess. Everyone asked in surprise what this was. Nico, with a shy smile, just said she wanted to try new things. When Yu praised her beauty, she blushed again. Once everyone was together, Yu started the park day and the outing adventure began. Yu did not know that in the past few weeks, Nico, Miwa, and Kazuki had become fully interested in him, and now all three had decided this time they would turn the tables and win Yu's heart. The first stop was the haunted house, which was Kazuki's idea. Nico and Miwa watched from the side, feeling jealous and defeated because Kazuki took the lead. Kazuki had planned to act like a scared girl and fall into Yu's arms at every jump scare. But as soon as the first jump scare came, instead of screaming, she praised the ghost makeup, saying how well it was done, and then realized she ruined her own plan. At the same time, she noticed Yu was missing. She looked around and found Yu sitting on the ground, shaking with fear. Then, when the next scary scene came, Yu himself fell into Kazuki's arms and apologized for being so scared. Kazuki, who wanted to trap him with her plan, melted at Yu's weak and scared side, as if she was not the scared girl there, but Yu was. Outside, Nico and Miwa worried Kazuki might win. They saw Yu still clinging to Kazuki, shaking, and thought Kazuki failed and felt relieved. But then Yu, with a shy smile, said he felt safe with Kazuki. Kazuki turned bright red, and Nico and Miwa realized the winner was not Kazuki, but Kazuki herself was conquered by Yu. Miwa pulled herself together and said she would not make that mistake. She took Yu to the roller coaster. Nico and Kazuki refused to join, and Miwa thought the field was clear. Miwa also planned to act scared, ask Yu to sit next to her, and after the ride, act weak and get comfort from him. But after the ride, she looked around and Yui was nowhere to be seen. Then she found him lying on a bench, face pale. Yu, panting, admitted he was very scared of roller coasters and had never ridden one before. Miwa was annoyed. Her plan did not work, but then Yu honestly said he was happy his first time was with her. Hearing this, Miwa's heart softened. To help Yu rest, Miwa told him to use her legs as a pillow and tried to hide her embarrassment. Yu thanked her, and Miwa felt a sweetness in her heart. Like Kazuki, Miwa also failed, and she too was conquered by Yu. Now it was Nico's turn. She chose the teacup ride and thought she would spin the cup so fast she would fall into Yu's lap and he would catch her. But at the last moment, Yu spun the wheel so hard that he ended up leaning toward Nico instead. The cup spun faster and faster, and they got so close that Yu's lips almost touched Nico's lips. Nico's heart started beating fast, and she was filled with emotion. But before anything could happen, Yu lost his balance and almost fell out of the cup. Nico quickly caught him. Yu laughed and said how embarrassing that was, and Nico, red to her ears, straightened him, and in that moment, she felt like the loser. After so many failed attempts, the three sisters decided to take Yu to eat something, thinking maybe now they could turn the game around. But they were surprised themselves that, without even trying, Yu kept impressing all three with his simple and caring attitude. He praised the food, told funny stories, and included everyone in the conversation. By the time the park closed, all three were so lost in him that they completely melted. Still, all three were frustrated that Yu did not blush even once. Then they saw a family taking a picture together. Nico noticed how Yu's face lit up watching them. Then she understood that for Yu, this day was only about being with his family, nothing else. Nico, wanting to save the moment, gathered everyone for a group photo. Yu thanked them with such a genuine smile that the sisters had to say something themselves. Nico sincerely said that because of Yu, they had more fun than ever and learned something in life. Miwa and Kazuki agreed and thanked Yu from the bottom of their hearts for everything he had done for them. And for the first time, Yu blushed. His heart felt warm, and he looked for a place to hide his face. The three sisters looked at each other and realized that in the end, it was not hard to impress Yu. They just had to be themselves. On the train ride home, everyone fell asleep from tiredness, but were happy in their hearts. Miwa woke up for a moment and saw Nico, Kazuki, and Yu sleeping together, just like a real family, and smiled. But then reality returned when she saw a notification on her phone about a big shogi match coming up. Deep down, she wished she could stay in that moment forever, away from the pressures of life. After the awesome amusement park outing, Kazuki and Nico left the house with lighter hearts, as if a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. Inside, both knew Yu was right. Even genius people like them sometimes needed a break to recharge. At the door, when saying goodbye, Yu waved with a smile. Kazuki and Nico also said goodbye warmly, but there was a competitive sparkle in their eyes because their rivalry was still as strong as ever. In the kitchen, Yu saw that Miwa had forgotten her lunchbox. Yu knew how much Miwa liked his homemade food and always looked forward to every dish. Without wasting a moment, Yu decided to deliver the lunchbox to her himself. On the way, he saw a girl so lost in her book that she nearly walked into a pole. Yu watched her carefully, especially when she was about to walk near a construction site. Gently, he grabbed her hand and pulled her away from danger. The girl looked at him in confusion and asked who he was, not realizing Yu had just saved her. Yu smiled calmly and gave her a healthy sweet, saying it would give her energy in this heat. Then he walked away. The girl took the sweet in surprise, and when Yu had turned his back, she took it out of her pocket and looked at it. A small smile appeared on her face, and she thought this boy was both strange and interesting. When Yu arrived where Miwa was playing a shogi match, he was stunned to see her. Miwa was fully focused, sitting at the board like a queen, and there was such seriousness in her that Yu felt a strange pressure. Next to him, a strange boy muttered that Miwa did not look good in this match. Yu got worried but stayed quiet so as not to break Miwa's focus. Then, during the opponent's move, Miwa lightly licked her lips, and the boy happily said now Miwa was going to win. Yu asked in surprise how he knew. The boy explained with a smart smile that when Miwa licked her lips like that, it was her sign she had found the way to win, and it was her special habit. Really, in less than a minute, Miwa's opponent surrendered and Miwa won with great confidence. Yu immediately jumped forward to celebrate and praised how amazing she played. In excitement, he called her badass. Miwa turned red to her ears and angrily told him not to use that word. It embarrassed her. So as not to disturb other players, she pulled Yu outside and asked in surprise what he was doing there. With a mischievous smile, Yu took out the lunchbox from his bag and said she had forgotten it, and he had also put in the sides she liked so she would have more energy. Miwa could not speak, and gratitude shone in her eyes. Yu started to say goodbye and said he was going home now, but Miwa pouted and told him to stay and have lunch with her. Yu could not ignore her tone and immediately agreed, then went to get something for himself. Suddenly, the same book girl who almost walked into a pole came rushing in like a storm. She snatched the lunchbox from Miwa's hands and pointed at Yu, accusing him of being the reason Miwa's play had gotten worse lately. Miwa kept her cool, looked at her with a hard stare, and took the lunchbox back. The girl introduced herself as Sakura and said the old Miwa would never have cared about a silly thing like a lunchbox. Then she challenged Miwa, saying she had always been her rival. Yu was impressed and said that was awesome, so Sakura really was a rival on Miwa's level. Sakura stood up straight with pride, but Miwa cut her off with a sarcastic smile and said Sakura had never beaten her even in practice, and to her, Sakura was just an annoying mosquito. Sakura admitted there was a gap between her and Miwa, but still said the old Miwa never struggled this much against opponents, and the biggest shogi player of this generation should not show this level. Miwa's face turned red, and Yu thought Sakura actually respected Miwa a lot inside. Then Sakura announced she would defeat Miwa and end her era, and to do that, she needed to study Miwa closely. Without permission, she sat with them for lunch to note Miwa's every move. Miwa, annoyed, crossed her arms and said she would not share her food. Sakura calmly opened her own lunchbox. It had onigiri and something she called an omelet, but it looked so weird that both Miwa and Yu got suspicious. At that moment, a loud dog bark came from somewhere. Sakura jumped in fear, and one onigiri flew into the air. She ran to catch it, slipped, and Yu, trying to help, also slipped. As a result, both fell in a very cliche and awkward way. For a moment, Sakura stared at Yu in shock, then quickly regained herself, lightly slapped his cheek, and said she could not get distracted by a handsome boy before the big match against Miwa. She turned as red as a beetroot. Watching all this, Miwa felt a bit jealous and realized both Yu and Sakura were extremely clumsy, like they were made from the same clay. Yu smiled because he always saw Miwa alone at school, and now he saw her with such a lively rival. With a genuine smile, he said it was nice to see Miwa like this, and she looked cute with her energetic partner. Miwa turned red and snapped that she was not a friend and never would be. Sakura also shouted they were not friends, they were rivals. With a look of disdain, Miwa immediately said, not even rivals. It was impossible for a loser like Sakura to get close to her. So another argument started. Sharp words, sparks, and Yu just stood by and enjoyed it because he felt they actually understood each other inside. Sakura had always been obsessed with shogi, but when she saw so many amazing talents around her, she had to break herself to compete. She kept studying, learning, and improving herself to stay in the field. Then, when she entered official competitions, she played many opponents, but always hit the same wall. The unbeatable champion, Miwa. Despite so many losses and getting no attention, Sakura never gave up her stubbornness and focus. She always saw herself as Miwa's big rival and had the determination that one day she would surpass her. One morning, Yu woke up early, completely fresh and energetic. He saw Kazuki and Nico were also awake, which surprised him. Yu said he was going to the shrine to pray for Miwa's win. Kazuki and Nico also wanted to do the same, so they made weak excuses for waking up early. But Yu, in his warm style, invited them to come along. At the shrine, they met Sakura, who was deeply focused in prayer. She was surprised to see Yu, and when she found out he was with the Mikadono sisters, her mouth fell open. Sakura humbly admitted she did not have Miwa's talent, so she had no problem asking for a little luck. Kazuki and Nico saw Sakura had hung many prayer plaques, all saying, "Win." Sakura curiously asked how Yu knew these sisters. Yu smiled and said he just gave a little support, helping them stay focused. This stung Sakura. She said a talentless guy like Yu was just a servant for these genius people. Then she added that even though she and Yu were both without talent, she would never give up her dreams to become someone's sidekick, because she was the heroine of her own story. With passion, she announced she would defeat Miwa, but in her excitement, she slipped badly. Yu went to help, but slipped too and fell right on top of her. Sakura's face came so close to Yu's that she blushed, but Kazuki and Nico's sharp eyes landed on them, and they were not happy at all. Yu laughed and joked that it looked like he and Sakura were pretty similar in being clumsy. Sakura kept blushing, and Kazuki and Nico quickly prayed for Sakura to lose. Then the day of Miwa and Sakura's first match arrived. Yu was holding his breath and watched the whole match with a lot of tension. Kazuki and Nico tried to act cool and told Yu to relax. There were 5 matches, and Miwa would crush her. No need to be so tense. But even they could not stop peeking at the screen. Yu laughed at this and told them to sit and watch together. Both got embarrassed being so close and ran away. After hours of tension, a big shock came. In front of everyone, Miwa surrendered and Sakura won. Yu panicked and wanted to go comfort Miwa, but the sister stopped him and told him not to make a drama. Even though he did not like the result, Yu worked hard to make a special dinner for Miwa, which Kazuki and Nico thought was a bit too much. When Miwa came home, everyone tried to cheer her up, but Miwa, with a soft smile, refused the dinner and said she had to focus on the next match with Sakura. During training, Miwa ran out of snacks. She went out to get something and found protein bars and supplements Kazuki and Nico had left, and realized they cared. At that moment, Yu was also there, with a sparkle in his eyes. He said he made something special for Miwa. In the kitchen, he showed her a small chocolate ball, which Miwa liked. Then he poured hot chocolate on it, and inside was vanilla ice cream shaped like a cat, which Miwa loved. Yu happily told her to play with a smile, and it would give her energy to crush Sakura. Miwa's eyes lit up. She ate the dessert and got the courage and energy to face Sakura again. Yu said her grand entry was very cool. A week later, the second match for the shogi championship title started. Once again, Miwa lost to Sakura. Yu panicked and ran to the venue to see how Miwa was. There, everyone was talking in shock and admiration that this Sakura, who could never beat Miwa before, had now defeated her twice in a row. Yu could not believe Miwa was being cornered like this. He anxiously started searching for her. At that moment, Sakura showed up and sarcastically asked if he was there to pick up the loser. Yu did not like her attitude at all. Sakura pushed further and said Miwa had not studied enough and relied too much on her talent. She arrogantly explained that Miwa made many mistakes at the start, and that was why she lost twice in a row to Sakura. Then, mocking even more, she said to bet that Miwa must have gone home crying from humiliation. Yu's face hardened as if he was about to snap at her, but surprisingly, he thanked Sakura. Sakura got nervous and did not understand why. Yu explained he understood her real message. Her words meant Miwa had not given her all. Yu said if Miwa trained more, reviewed her strategy, and really pushed herself, she could still turn things around. For Yu, Sakura's taunts were actually hints that he should go and support Miwa, because 2 losses in a row must have broken her. Sakura blushed immediately because Yu had read her exactly right, but she firmly denied that was her intention. Yu teased her further and said the match had been over for a while and she was still standing there, meaning she was actually waiting for a chance to meet Yu. Sakura blushed even more and denied it with a small mischievous smile, and she looked very beautiful at that moment. Sakura almost exploded with emotion and turned completely red from the compliment. Yu said goodbye, but as he left, he boldly said Miwa Mikadono's story was not over yet. Then he turned and walked away. Sakura found Yu's words strange, but also felt their effect, because even though Yu called himself just Miwa's support, it was clear he thought Miwa was much better than Sakura. A little later, when Yu got home, he felt a heavy atmosphere in the house. Kazuki and Nico's faces looked like they had eaten something they did not like. Yu asked if Miwa was back. They said Miwa had come home, but after a while, she left again. Yu got worried and thought she must have been broken by the loss. Nico tried to reassure him that Miwa looked delicate but was strong inside, but admitted she was pretty disheartened right now. A little earlier, when Miwa came home, Kazuki and Nico tried to cheer her up. Nico said she only needed 3 wins, not to give up, that she was just like them because she had also given her life to shogi and this hard work would pay off. Kazuki also said she had recently learned losing was not always a bad thing, but Miwa was not in the mood for talk. She said in a serious tone for both of them to be quiet because she was not like them. Then, in anger, she slammed the door and left, and Kazuki and Nico were left frozen, completely completely silent and shocked. Kazuki and Nico understood Miwa took title matches very seriously. They also felt that hearing advice from two amateurs made Miwa even more upset, so both felt sad. They told you that Miwa usually kept her anger inside, but this was the first time they saw her so fired up. Yu decided he would find Miwa. He told Kazuki and Nico to stay home, so Miwa would not be alone if she came back. Yu ran out, and it started to rain. On the way, he remembered the good days when Miwa happily ate his sweets. He wondered what made her so angry. He went to a cafe called Catnip, where there were cute kittens. There, Miwa was petting a kitten and kissing it. When Yu came in, Miwa stared at him in surprise. Yu was happy to see she was okay and said he did not expect to find her here. Miwa suspiciously asked where he thought she would be. Yu said he thought maybe he would find her sitting alone and sad under a bridge. After drying off, Yu asked if she came here often. Miwa explained yes, because there was no time to keep pets at home. Plus, Kazuki had a slight allergy to cats, and the house was barely manageable as it was, so keeping a pet would be cruel to the animal. Yu liked that Miwa was getting a little life back. He told her that even after 2 losses, she could still beat Sakura. But suddenly, Miwa's face changed. She hid her face in the kitten's soft belly and squeezed it so much the poor cat almost suffocated. Then, in a sad tone, she let out her heart, saying professional shogi players spent their whole lives on it, always studying. Yu said he could see just by looking at her how hard she worked. But Miwa said it was not that simple. She admitted shogi was always just a tool for her. If it was chess or something else, it would not have mattered. She explained that since childhood, Mikadono's father saw her talent. At a very young age, she became a champion and beat much older, more experienced boys. Her father always praised her wins and said that way she would be equal to her sisters. Miwa said that was the only reason she kept playing shogi. But even so, Nico and Kazuki were much more talented and dedicated in their own fields. When Miwa asked why they tried so hard, Nico said she enjoyed training and getting stronger. Kazuki said she liked to shine on stage. But Miwa could not understand these things. She sadly admitted her sisters did what they really liked, while she only played shogi to be recognized. Miwa said shogi was a terrifyingly competitive game because you could feel your opponent's passion across the board, and she clearly felt her opponents could sense how hollow her own passion was. She was close to tears and admitted in a trembling voice that she always knew someone like her would stop winning sooner or later. Unable to carry her burden alone, Miwa started crying, as if the weight of always having to be the best was a little lighter. Yu gently patted her head and thanked her for trusting him. Miwa hesitated and said she did not even know if she wanted to go home. Then Yu, with a polite smile, said he would not let her go home yet. Miwa-san. Miwa turned as red as a chili, and even the kitten sitting nearby seemed to blush at the scene. After the rain stopped, Yu took Miwa's hand and led her along. Miwa blushed even more and thought maybe Yu was taking her somewhere warm, maybe even a hotel, but Yu took her straight to the supermarket. On the way, Yu told her Kazuki and Nico thought it was their fault Miwa left home. Yu said if Miwa made a gift for her sisters, it would be a good way to apologize from the heart and soften things up. He decided they would make sweets for both of them and asked Miwa what Nico and Kazuki liked. Miwa said Nico had been interested in cute things for a while, and since she found out she liked sweets, a delicate cupcake would be perfect. And Kazuki, who liked to act big and mature, would prefer something bitter, like coffee or coffee jelly. Yu said he would make it low sugar and light so it would not ruin their diets. After shopping, Yu and Miwa went to Seikka Academy to secretly make the sweets so it would not ruin the surprise. While they were preparing, Miwa asked where Yu learned to cook so well, and joked that maybe he was not a loser, but someone with hidden talent. Then Yu started telling his story. He explained that as a child, he failed at everything. He always felt inferior to his mother because she was talented, so he slowly started distancing himself from her. Then one day, without thinking much, he made a simple breakfast. By chance, his mother came home early from work, ate it, and liked it a lot. The first time Yu saw his mother smile sincerely at his food, his heart felt warm. After that, Yu wanted to see that smile again and again, so he started practicing cooking harder. But at first, his food only looked good. The taste was not that great, and unfortunately, his mother was so busy she could not try his new recipes often. Over time, Yu started wondering if it was even worth it, because his mother almost never had time to eat what he made. Then one day, his mother was admitted to the hospital. Once, when Yu was going to buy groceries, he asked if she wanted something special to eat. In a weak voice and with a regretful look, his mother said she really wanted to eat something Yu made. Then Yu buried himself in cookbooks with the doctor's instructions to make food that was healthy and comforting. He put his whole heart into cooking. When he gave it to his mother, she loved it and asked for more. From that moment, Yu made all his mother's meals during her hospital stay. Yu said he noticed how much Miwa enjoyed choosing things for her sisters. Miwa blushed and tried to deny it, but Yu did not believe her denial. Then he told Miwa she thought she was hollow because she played shogi only for recognition. But in reality, it showed she wanted to be equal to her sisters, whom she loved very much, and wanted to see Mikadono's father happy and proud of her. Miwa again tried to deny these were her real reasons, but Yu said there was nothing wrong with that. With a gentle smile, he said some people did not push themselves just to get better or be on top, but because they wanted wanted the ones they loved to feel proud. And that showed how soft-hearted and caring Miwa was. For a moment, Miwa froze. Yu's words worked like magic on her. She started thinking that the people she wanted to make proud were not just her father and sisters, but now Yu was included too. As soon as she realized Yu was in her thoughts, her face turned even redder. A little later, Yu dozed off and fell asleep. Miwa kept looking at him, then thought of a secret way to thank him. She made a small doll out of marshmallow that looked like Yu's face. Then she kissed the doll as if she was kissing Yu. Later, when they got home, Kazuki and Nico were annoyed and complained about them being late. They started to argue with Yu, but Miwa immediately defended him and said it was her fault, not his. Then Miwa gave the sweets she made with so much effort to her sisters. Yu explained that Miwa actually made the sweets, he just helped a little, and these sweets were special and unique. Kazuki tried to act tough as she tasted the sweet, and immediately realized the taste was really good. Nico, trying to look better, said this one had even more delicious little things inside. Kazuki quickly replied that the real thing was balance. Then both started arguing about whose sweet was better. At the same time, Miwa called Yu and gave him the sweet as a gift, shaped like a doll with Yu's face on it. The sisters were impressed by the resemblance, but then noticed the doll's hair was a bit pushed back and there was a lip mark on it. They found it strange, and as soon as Miwa heard this and remembered her little kiss, she almost collapsed from embarrassment. The decisive day arrived, Miwa's third match, just like she did to the sweet before. Yu looked at this scene. He was living inside his mother's dream. This time, Miwa was not the same as before. Now she was full of confidence, strong-willed, and for the first time, she had a clear reason to win. Now she was ready to win, because when a girl's heart is set, it is not easy to stop her. At the same time, Yu and his sisters suddenly showed up and gave Miwa the support that pushed her forward. Everyone thought Miwa had come to take back the title, but Miwa surprised everyone. She said she did not care about the trophy anymore. The trophy could go to hell. Everyone asked her why, but Miwa stayed silent, not saying a word. Everyone was shocked, wondering what was going on in her mind. No one knew that this new spark inside Miwa came from her heart, and the real reason was the person she wanted to see happy, especially Yu. When Miwa entered the game room, Sakura immediately understood this was not the same Miwa she had beaten easily. This was the old Miwa, the queen of shogi, who had ruled the board for years. This scene awakened something inside Sakura, and the doors to old memories opened. In Sakura's oldest memory, she was a clumsy girl nobody wanted to play with. She often stayed alone in a corner, as if she was invisible. Then her mother lovingly took her to her grandparents' house so she could reconnect and form a bond with someone. There her grandfather, as wise as ever, said, "Sakura, wanna play shogi? I'm sad because no one plays a match with me." At first, Sakura did not even know the rules, and she thought the pawn was the weakest, most useless piece, one that barely moved. But her grandfather explained that the pawn was weak, but it was stubborn and never stopped moving forward, even if the whole game was against it. This lesson went deep into Sakura's heart. She saw herself in the pawn, stumbling but always moving forward. She excitedly told her grandfather to teach her everything. In just a few weeks, she got so much better, she could even beat her grandfather on the board. After that, Sakura jumped into shogi tournaments. She met all kinds of opponents, and trophies started filling her shelf. For the first time, even though she was a clumsy and awkward girl, she felt she had found her place in the world, a place where she truly shined. But one day, fate put Sakura directly in front of a living legend, Miwa. That was the first time Sakura realized the gap between them was like earth and sky. Miwa crushed her mercilessly, and one question echoed in Sakura's mind: why was the gap so big? It was the first time in her life that hopelessness completely took over. No matter how hard she tried, Miwa seemed unreachable, like a faraway dream. Then one day in class, some rude girls teased Sakura for her low grades and mocked her. At that moment, Miwa suddenly showed up and gave those girls a harsh reply. She reminded them they themselves had lost badly to Sakura, and then gave them more bitter sarcasm. After that, Miwa turned to Sakura and scolded her for not defending herself, telling her to walk with her head held high. Miwa was surprised when Sakura suddenly started crying, tears coming from deep inside. Sakura felt completely useless. The same Miwa who crushed her in shogi now pitied her for being weak. This hurt Sakura more than any checkmate, because she felt Miwa did not see her as a threat, just a pitiful, ordinary girl. But then Miwa gave her a real compliment to encourage her. She said Sakura's way of using pawns was something she had never seen in anyone else. That style was only Sakura's. Hearing this, Sakura remembered her grandfather's words about the pawn. Slow but stubborn, one step forward, never back. Sakura saw that pawn inside herself. With courage, she said from now on, she was Miwa's rival, and one day she would catch up to her. Sakura left with new strength, while Miwa just wondered why she said that in front of this girl. Now, years later, Sakura was proud of herself. She had truly become Miwa's real rival. And this time, Miwa also saw her as an equal, like one champion respecting another. Then their match started, and the audience held their breath, watching how tough the battle was. In this intense match, Miwa suddenly did her signature move, a light lick of the lips, and then advanced her pawn to attack, just like before. Checkmate. Miwa won the game and tied the score. Now everything depended on the last and final match. At home, everyone waited anxiously, because Miwa had already already said no one should come, so her focus would not be broken. Meanwhile, Miwa put her whole soul into the last match. The others could not sit still either. Each got busy with their own thing, but deep down, they were determined not to fall behind Miwa. After several hours, Miwa finally came out of the hall, just like a champion. She had won. The title was back in her hands. Reporters swarmed her, but Miwa did not care about them. Her eyes found Yu behind the crowd, and she walked straight to him. Miwa was surprised to see tears in Yu's eyes, as if he was about to cry. Miwa tried to calm him, and then Yu, with a bright smile, congratulated her and said he was proud of her. Hearing this, Miwa remembered all the smiles from Yu that warmed her heart. Deep inside, she wished she could always see that smile, and gently reached out toward his face. At that moment, Kazuki and Nico also arrived and stopped when they saw the scene. Then, without thinking, Miwa suddenly gave Yu a light kiss on the forehead. As soon as she realized what she had done, she became extremely embarrassed and her face turned red. But before things could get more awkward, a foreign couple came and congratulated her on the win. Miwa quickly replied in fluent English, and Yu was surprised. Then, the sisters explained Miwa had studied abroad for years, so her English was so good. To cover up, Miwa quickly made an excuse that the kiss was just a foreign way of saying thanks, and teased Yu by laughing and asking if he was jealous of a forehead kiss. After that, Kazuki and Nico also congratulated her on the win, and Miwa felt a strange emotional feeling. Without thinking, she kissed both sisters on the forehead and thanked them for always being there for her. Yu happily said they should take a picture to make the moment memorable. Then they all came together and took a selfie, with smiles on all three faces. On the other side, Sakura watched all this from afar. She had lost, but still felt a strange pride that now Miwa saw her as an equal, a rival who could really compete. She looked at Yu and wondered how an ordinary boy ended up among these three talented sisters. But this thought did not break her. It gave her hope. She thought that if she could come this far like a pawn, maybe one day she could go beyond the kings and queens of shogi. The next day, life went back to normal. Miwa was getting crushed by the AI in shogi practice. Nico was doing hard training as usual, and Yu was helping Kazuki make a healthy morning smoothie. But as soon as Kazuki tasted it, it was as weird and bad as water. Yu apologized in embarrassment and started to taste it himself to see if it was really bad. Kazuki immediately realized this would be an indirect kiss, so she panicked, grabbed the cup, and drank it all in one go, and her face turned red. Later, Yu gave Nico fresh towels. Nico noticed he had changed the softener to a scented one. She happily thanked him. At the same time, Yu suddenly said the towel was really soft. Nico misunderstood, thinking he was talking about her, and got even more embarrassed. Then Miwa was busy with shogi practice and ran out of snacks. Yu immediately brought her favorite pudding. Miwa could not eat while playing, so Yu casually asked if he should feed her with a spoon. Miwa froze on the spot, but despite the embarrassment, agreed, and her heart started beating fast. At breakfast, the house felt just like a family home. Everyone laughed, teased each other, and the place filled with warmth, and felt in his heart a happy home, with love and a little chaos. Then, when the sisters rushed out for training, Yu did not even get a chance to say goodbye. But the surprising thing was, they stopped at the door and waited for Yu outside. This time, instead of Yu, all three smiled and said, "Bye, see you later," and Yu's heart filled with a strange warmth. At that moment, he felt his dream home was with these three Mikadono sisters. That night, when Yu came home, he had an unexpected guest with him, Sakura. She seriously announced she would stay the night, so she could study Miwa up close, learn everything about her game, and maybe beat her in the upcoming shogi season, which was not far away.